Hey everyone listening to Indifferent Strokes. Just want to very quickly talk about something that's relevant to today, and that's the death of Pope Francis, who at the age of 88 is said to have died of a stroke, at least from what I'm reading in the news, and subsequent coma. So, it's definitely heartbreaking to hear, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are really affected by this. And so there's probably some people that are looking for some sort of an answer to understand what could have caused the stroke and what could have caused the ultimate death. And so as a stroke neurologist, I can very briefly describe what a major stroke looks like and how people end up dying from stroke. So whenever there's a blood vessel in the brain that is affected, either by blocked off or it ruptures, that part of the brain stops working. And sometimes when it's a major blood vessel, it's a major artery or a major pipe that feeds the brain with blood, a large part of the brain is affected and stops working. And so that's what we call a devastating stroke. And so it sounds like the Pope had a devastating stroke that led to a large part of the brain to stop functioning, and that results in coma. And when somebody goes into a coma or an unresponsive state related to a large stroke, other organs quickly start to shut down. And the heart is very often affected. The heart stops working because of the stress from this massive stroke and from the coma. And so in a percentage of people with stroke, and about 15% or so, maybe 10 to 20%, the stroke is bad enough that it ultimately leads to death, either within hours, but often within the first couple of weeks. And so we're all sad to hear it. Just wanted to take a couple minutes to describe what a devastating stroke is, how it happens, and how it can lead to coma and death. For a lot of our listeners, this is a relatively common cause of death around the world. About the second leading cause of death in the world actually is stroke, and so it's not a rare thing for stroke to cause death. And in the United States, it's somewhere about the fifth leading cause of death, and so it's a pretty common cause of death in general. And the older people get, the more likely that they are to have a stroke, and the higher the risk of stroke is. And so Pope Francis died at age 88, which is a common decade for stroke. People in their 80s, 70s, and 80s. And often the question is, what can we do to prevent that from happening? And so the number one thing anyone can do to prevent the stroke later on in their life is to control their blood pressure, understand what their blood pressure is, and if the blood pressure is high, to make sure that that's under control. And then there are a couple of other risk factors like diabetes or cholesterol. And so living a healthy lifestyle, watching what you eat, exercising, all those things help decrease the risk of stroke through decreasing things like cholesterol levels in the blood, sugar levels in the blood, and blood pressure. So that's it for me. We'll talk soon.